Thank you very much for inviting me to do the presentation. I'm here to talk about PFAS. PFAS, or forever chemicals, that is one of the major concerns for the water environment that we have seen. We have developed SELPAXT, which is a smart PFAS removal concentration technology that outperforms existing technologies, in particular for short PFAS in complex water streams. My name is Johan Seijmer. I'm CEO of Chromafora. And Chromafora is a Swedish clean tech innovation company that was founded out of chemical research. We are developing these chemical methods for use in water treatment applications. And the main focus right now is on SELPAXT for removal of PFAS. We have the commercial platform in place, so that remains the key focus. But we also have other technologies in our portfolio, like for removing heavy metals and actually also for being able to extract valuable metals from waste streams. I will touch briefly upon that towards the end of the presentation. So PFAS, the forever chemicals is how they are named. They have been used frequently since at least in the late 1950s for use in, for example, firefighting foam, everyday applications like cosmetics, cleaning agents, cookware, etc., textile impregnation, but also in electronics, in wind turbine manufacturing, battery manufacturing, and so on. So it's commonly used, very good for what it was intended for, but it also came with a price that we didn't really expect once we started to implement this. They are very persistent, they remain in the environment, in the ecosystem, and are really hard to get out of, and this is why they tend to end up in many places, and in particular in water. This is the Forever Pollution Project. This is a collaboration between several European magazines like Le Monde and Deutsche Zeitung. And they have started to assemble all information about PFAS, known PFAS contaminations across Europe. And they have this interactive map. It is on the website where you can actually zoom in and see the red dots are confirmed known contaminations, and the other ones are sort of expected or suspected contaminated sites. So all in all, there are more than 17,000 identified hotspots in Europe, and more than 21,000 that are confirmed suspected contaminations. And for sure, this is not the end. You see there are not so many dots in Finland, clearly not in Eastern Europe and so on. So it's basically results of what investigations that has been made. So this map is being constantly updated as there is more information that comes into the picture. For example, this also then affects known drinking water sources. I heard recently about Perrier, the French mineral water. They have now discovered that they have PFAS in their water source. And of course, how do you do a mineral water from a spring source? If you need to actually treat it, you cannot do a reverse osmosis and call it a mineral water. So that is a big concern in many aspects, how to deal with that. So our take on PFAS is our SELPAXT treatment technology. It's an advanced water treatment technology using chemistry and membrane filtration. We are inserting our active chemistry, which is selective towards PFAS, so it bonds to the PFAS that is dissolved in the water, and it creates a complex that makes it able for us to stop it with the ultrafiltration membrane. The ultrafiltration membrane is an existing technology. It is quite open membrane, so it's able to pass other dissolved salts and organics or other ions, etc. But then the components or substances that are targeted and affected by our chemistry will be captured, and we are able then to make a concentrate and concentrate the PFAS to take it out from the water stream. Compared to conventional technologies, we have a very consistent removal rate. We're able to typically remove more than 90% of the PFAS over time. So it is also gives a predictable performance. If you compare it to conventional technologies like absorbents, activated carbon, ion exchange resins, etc., They get saturated over time. In particular, for longer PFAS, this is the length of the molecule. If you have longer PFAS, they get saturated after quite a long time, but if you have short PFAS, they will get saturated quickly. So short PFAS is also a growing concern because known technologies are not effective on that. And this is exactly where we have our sweet spot, because we have good performance for any type of PFAS, basically. The other advantage is that we are not sensitive to co-contaminants in the water, and that we also have a very high concentration of the waste. We have a low residual waste ratio, which gives a benefit when you finally then take the waste for destruction. Our current focus is on landfills and waste management applications. These are known hotspots across Europe, but across the world, I would say, because they have been handling material that contains high concentrations or accumulating material that gets a high concentration of the PFAS. Of course, there is a lot of other hotspots also. Airfields is another example where you have been using firefighting foam. We heard of that in Sweden, in Ronneby and in Uppsala, from the Air Force, for example. But landfills and waste management, they also have a high share of short PFAS, and they are complex waters, a lot of co-contaminants. So really a sweet spot where our technology is performing and outperforming existing technologies. Waste management and landfills are also interesting because they are part of the PFAS ecosystem. So of course they live out of waste, and PFAS is another waste stream that they need to be able to take care of, so we can safely deposit PFAS when it's found elsewhere. And of course, underlying driving factors for this are the directive, the Drinking Water Directive, which is now in place, is being implemented across Europe, and we have other wastewater directives too, the Urban Wastewater Directive and so on. That is also driving the need for going upstream and finding where are the hotspots, who are the polluters, and how can we remove the PFAS before it actually hits the drinking water works or the large treatment works. Because if you go in scale, it will be very expensive to remove PFAS. So doing it at the hotspots is our key to moving ahead with this. Apart from the EU directive, there are also, of course, local, regional, national legislations in place in areas where they have seen that this is really a growing concern. And then now I talk about Europe, but this is truly a global problem. US is very well aware of this, and it's a really hot topic in the US too. But our current focus is here in Europe. So, Chromafora is not only about PFAS and landfills. We are also looking at adjacent applications for the technology. We see a great potential to expand. Apart from the 185,000 landfills in Europe, we see applications in related areas. And we also see synergies there with our other technology, like the SELPAXT, where we can remove heavy metals, because heavy metals are also present in this application, in these sites. So a good synergy between the technologies and a good potential to expand into more applications. Finally, I mentioned about value metal recovery. We're actually just closing a project that has been co-financed by the Swedish Mining Innovation, where we're able to use our selective technology to target gold from mining waste. So we have been developing a process for that. It's completely different ecosystem, but very interesting potential in that, to have a cyanide-free, sort of non-toxic way of extracting gold from waste streams. So just to show you that Chromafora is not all about PFAS, but of course this is our main topic right now, and the focus is really on scaling. We have the commercial platform in place with our manufacturing partners that are able to build these containerized treatment plants for us. We have a commercial team and established partners now in Belgium, Netherlands, and Germany, and are looking for further expansion. Very important also, we have secured financing from the European Investment Bank by the end of last year that enable us to finance the capex. But of course, we have a capex to deploy these containerized plants at the customers, and there's a hesitancy, of course, to invest in capex for a new technology. So by the help of this financing, we can offer the customers the technology as a service and include it in the OpEx, basically. So this is a really great opportunity for us, and this is also why we're now focusing on Europe, because this is a European financing that we have and are backed with. So continuing to search for new partners to expand further, currently focusing on the Nordics, but also France as the next possible markets. We have an ongoing investment round. We are searching for commercial investors to match the EIB financing. It has to be co-financed initially with equity, but of course over time with cash generated from the operations that we have. So we're raising up to 50 million SEK in the first tranche. So happy to talk more about that. Thank you very much.